Are here. As you know, I'm Lynn Hamilton, the lead instructor here at Samson Properties, and we are here to kick off the next session of JumpStart. So as a quick reminder, JumpStart is a series of 4 classes, kind of intended to be taken in order whenever possible. We've already completed 1 and 2, and we've talked about the foundation of your business. As you know, my goal and my mission is to help you put your real estate business together like a puzzle. So often there's great classes all over, and an agent will go, they'll hear from another agent, oh, this is a really good class, you need to take that one. But this is a good class too, you need to take that one. And then you need to go to this class, and you need to take that one as well. But then you don't know what to do with it all. So my goal, my mission is to bring it all together for you, put it together methodically and in order. So with that, here's all the pieces of your real estate business. Well, there's more in the box, but we're gonna help you put it all together piece by piece. So, you ready? Let's jump right in. Let me get my little clicker here going. There we go. So if you are watching me virtual or on replay, make sure that you go to your Cardinal Nest under Resources, under JumpStart. You will find the handouts, the lesson that goes along with each session, and that'll certainly help follow along and take notes as well. So here's a couple of quick announcements. First off, we do have a new JumpStart Q&A session. I do it through a GoToMeeting link that is available on the Cardinal Nest on the calendar for you. It's every Thursday from 11 to 12. It is your chance to ask me questions. What are the stumbling blocks you're having from a previous session? What do you need extra help with? I'm there, it's your time, and we chat. So hopefully you can join us on Thursdays, 11 to 12 for Q&A. Alrighty, so special thanks and a shout out to Cardinal Title for sponsoring this class. I appreciate them, and you guys, if you haven't had a chance to try them on your next transaction, please do, because I tell you, I'm so impressed with what I'm seeing and hearing behind the scenes about Cardinal. So tell them I sent you, and they'll make sure they obviously will take really good care of you and your clients as well. So thank you to Cardinal. All right, so here's a couple of suggestions for you. First, I'm going to ask that you have the printout. The front page is going to be designed to be your checklist, completing the tasks that are covered in that particular session. Also, I'm going to ask you to 3-hole punch them and put them in a 3-ring binder, either a 1/2 inch or a 1 inch, whichever you prefer, because what you are going to be doing is building out your own customized marketing program and business building techniques. So obviously JumpStart sessions 1 through 4 will be in there, and then based off what you decide to do with some of your database components and some of your marketing components that we cover in session 4, you'll build out your customized manual from there. So that's what I'm going to ask. Also, when you have a chance to meet with one of your mentors, your coaches, your managers, myself, whatever, hopefully we're all going to ask you to bring this with you so that we can see what you've completed versus where you still have gaps, and we can help put it together and make our time together more effective and more efficient for you. And last but not least, we have page numbered the slides to coincide with the page number of the handouts. So let's say you're watching it virtual, you need to step out for a quick minute, you come back and go, where is she at? You can quickly look at the bottom of the screen. There is a page number, and again, it coincides with the page number of your worksheet. Boom, we're good. All right, so a couple class rules I want to remind everybody of, especially if you're here with me live. Obviously, we want to make sure your phones are off and are set on silent, because if not, I'll answer them. You don't want me answering your phone. I want you to be open to some new ideas, because I'm going to be sharing with some things with you that you may not have heard before. So I want you to be open to new ideas. I'm also going to ask, as I always do, may I have your permission to be blunt and honest with you, tell you what you need to know, not always what you want to hear. And if you're okay with that, give me a thumbs up. All right, perfect. All right, we're also going to ask you to hear my heart and forgive my mouth, because there's several things I'm very passionate about in this business. And so usually if I know it's getting ready to come out, I will pause and I will warn you that it's ready to fly out. But I'm also going to remind you that you had given me permission to be blunt and honest, and so hear my heart and forgive my mouth. So I need you to laugh at my stupid jokes as well. It's going to keep you engaged, whether you're online watching it on replay or live here with us. Please laugh at my jokes. And then the other thing is I want you to learn something new with an aha takeaway. After training, now I'm pushing close to 4,000 agents. I've been blessed to be part of their real estate career and their journey. I found that oftentimes agents would go to events and go, wow, that was great, that was wonderful, but they'd never have an aha, they'd never have a takeaway, but then they would never do anything with it. So what I'm going to ask you to do is at the end of every session, and every class that you go to for that matter, or every meeting that you go to, have an aha takeaway moment. Ask yourself, what is the one thing that I can take away right now that I can implement right now to make my business better, stronger, more effective, more efficient? That is how you improve. And with that, we're going to move right along. So in each of the sessions, I always like to start with a word of wisdom. It is on your handout as well. And this one, because we're going to be talking about your database, the main purpose of a salesperson is not to make sales, but to create customers. Your prospects don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that is an old saying that we've all heard over and over again, but I'll tell you what, when you stop, marinate on it for a second, it absolutely carries powerful weight. So with that, we are going to jump right in. JumpStart, no pun intended. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be talking about is how to build out your database. This was probably one of my most requested classes when I was in California traveling the state and teaching at all the brokerages in the state of California, both the good, the bad, and the ugly on some of them. But this was one of the ones that was requested most, and that is how to build out your database. So we're going to get into some stuff that you probably have not heard before. So buckle in. Have your printout handy, have a notepad handy if you can't print out, so you can take some notes along the way. So grab yourself a highlighter, a pencil, a pen, a lip liner, I don't care, whatever you need, let's jump on in. So the first thing I want you to do is take a look on page 2, is who do you know? You're going to take a look at all the people that you know and don't prejudge them. That is common mistake number 1 that agents will make, is they will often prejudge, oh, they've got their dream home, they've got a beautiful home, they're never going to sell. Well, I'll tell you a secret. And if you've heard me speak before, you know what's coming. Anyone with a life-changing event, the home no longer meets their needs, they will sell that home. So it could be a beautiful 3-story, someone has to have knee replacement, they're not climbing the stairs anymore like they used to. So they want to make sure that they get into something that's more comfortable for them. So in that scenario, yes, their home no longer meets their needs. Regardless of what the market is doing, regardless of what the economy is doing, regardless of what's going on in the world, when their home no longer meets their needs, they will sell. All right? So as you're thinking about who you know, don't prejudge, just jot them down. Because often what we want to look at is not, do you have a good relationship and rapport with them, but it's who they know. Because again, they may be not have any plans of selling anytime soon, but knowing that you're providing them information of value, that you're providing good information to them and guiding them, and kind of your go-to source for anything real estate related, which we get into, when they know or come across somebody that needs to sell or buy, you are going to be top of mind, which is what the ultimate goal is. So who do they know comes into an important play as well. So again, don't prejudge them. But what I would ask you to do on that page is go ahead, take a few minutes after class and start jotting down everyone that you know, whether it be on Facebook, whether it be through on your phone contacts, through any organizations or associations that you belong with. Are they living, and do they have a roof over their head? Those are potentially the better and best clients are those that fit those categories. All right, so that is one of your tasks and assignments, is to start that list of who do you know and don't prejudge. All right, from there, it's not who you know, but it's who they know. Don't prejudge. We just hit that one. Moving on. KV Core. Now, don't go into cardiac arrest on me when I say KV Core. KV Core is your friend. Hashtags are going to become your friends. And Lori O'Day is your best friend. Now, KV Core is, as you know, free to you agents here at Samson. It is a very robust platform. Now, I'm going to speak, including myself, on this one. I believe what happened to many of us, me included, when we first learned about KV Core, we went, oh, wow. And then they started telling us about all the great bells and whistles and landing pages and Facebook ads and all the great stuff it could do. And our heads just went, you don't want your head doing that. It makes a mess all over the table. But hopefully you laughed at that one, all right? So, but KV Core, I want you to put your blinders on just like a racehorse. This is why racehorses wear blinders, so they don't get distracted with what's going on over here. I want you to focus just on one thing. If in session 1, I asked you to make sure that you had KV Core activated. If you had not, get a hold of Lori and she can get it activated for you. The one thing that I wanted you to do in session 1 now fits in to what we're covering in session 2. Remember, we talked about how the puzzle pieces fit together? That's why, that's how. So, I think it goes that way. But you want to start building these things out piece by piece. So, hopefully you've got it activated. Hopefully you know how to go in, at least add a contact yourself was the recommendation to put in, because you are going to start adding your people that you know into KV Core. Now, you can do it one of a couple ways. You can do it manually, one at a time, not a problem with that. You can put it in an Excel spreadsheet, and then either Lori can send you instructions or KV Core can help upload it for you. So it comes in and is all uploaded in. Either way, I don't care. But it's not that bad. I've been playing with it more and more the last couple weeks, and if I can figure out a couple cool things, you can too, because I'm not that tech savvy on some of this. And yes, it does have a tendency to rattle our nerves a bit because we don't understand. We don't need to understand all the back end stuff yet. I want you to just focus on what part of it you need to do right now. Okie dokie. So there's going to be 4 categories within your database. And this is going to be critical as you start uploading your database into your KV Core platform. Now, we're going to talk about what are the 4 categories. We're going to talk about how to tag them and hashtag them and why, and then how to really divide out your sphere of influence as why. I'm actually also going to share with you today how to build out each of the service provider, your other colleagues, and the transaction partners, and why it's so important to have all of those in there, and they play an important role. So let's jump in. First category in your database is always your sphere of influence, also known as your SOI. So your sphere of influence is part of your database. Well, duh, you figured that one out. All right, the second category in your database is transaction partners. So who are the transaction partners? Obviously, those businesses or individuals that need to be part of your transaction team to get a transaction completed. That would include a transaction coordinator, if you're using one, a lender, title, home warranty, inspectors, obviously Cardinal Title, and then any other specialties that you know need to be part of making that transaction work. With me? All right. Because you can't do a transaction on your own. You can't do the loan. You can't do the title. You can't do, the settlement statements. You can't do the home warranty. You can't do the inspections. Those are your transaction partners. I'm going to come back and talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Third category in your database is always service providers. Now, service providers are those that you need to have on speed dial. More important, they need to know who you are and you need to know who they are. Hopefully your goal is to build a reciprocal business-to-business relationship with them where you can refer them and they can refer you. And don't stop and tell me, well, Lynn, I know they know other agents. No joke. But guess what? I'm going to lay you odds that they have not developed what I'm going to share with you in a minute, how to develop that relationship with them where it becomes a reciprocal referral relationship. So we'll come back to that in a second. All right, so the fourth category in your database are other agents, also known as your colleagues. Now, I got to tell you a quick story on that one. When I was teaching in California, traveled the state a lot, I went into an office and they had requested this class on building out the database. So when I got to that part, one of the gals in the front row said, well, why would I want another agent in my database? They're my competition. I looked at her and went, really? So let me see if I got this right. You're going to do both ends of all of your transactions and not work with another agent because they're your competition. And by the way, get sued half the time, because that's usually the #1 reason agents get sued, is when they double into transaction. Either A, don't disclose it, shame on you, or the client looks at you at some point and wonders, whose best interest do you really have? That client, or your own? So I asked her that, and she kind of looked at me and she said, well, no, I'll be working with other agents. I said, okay, then they're your colleagues. You give me a couple minutes, I'm going to explain this, and then I'm going to come back and ask if they're your colleagues or if they are your competition. She says, okay, fair enough. Got done with this, came back, asked her, and she goes, oh my God, I'd never heard anyone explain it like this before. Now I understand the value of having other agents, my colleagues, part of my database, and to network with them. Duh. So I asked her, I thought she was a new agent, so I asked her how long she'd been in the business. She'd been in it for 5 years. 5 years, and had never heard this. So stay tuned, we got some good stuff coming. All right, so those are the 4 categories within your database. Take a deep breath. And how can you tell if you have a mailing list or a database? When I traveled and when I taught this, I would often go through the room and I would ask agents, how many do you have in your database? How many do you have in your database? How many do you have? How many do you have? And I would get anyone from sheepishly saying, well, I've only got about 35. And I'd go, awesome, to 100, a couple hundred, a couple, 300 to 500. There'd always be somebody in the back that would ruffle their little feathers up and go, I have 1,723 in my database. And I would look at them and go, no, you have a mailing list. They have a database. And there'd usually be some Snickers in class. Of course, I'm facing, everyone front, so I could see the Snickers, and the person in the back didn't get to see the Snickers, but I did. So that was always a fun part of it. So here is the determining factor as to whether or not you have a mailing list or if you have a database. I don't care what the number is. Here's my question. If I were to pull everybody that you're telling me is in your database and got a hold of them and asked, do they know who you are? Could they pick you out in a crowd? But more important, do they know what you do? If they can tell me yes, that is the database. If they can't remember who you are, they don't know what you do, they haven't heard from you, don't remember when the last time they heard from you, that's a mailing list. So that is the difference between a mailing list and a database. I don't care how many's on your list. I want to know, do they know you? Do they know what you do? And could they potentially pick you out of a crowd? Okay? So there you have it. So take a deep breath. We're going to jump into the next component. So in your sphere of influence, and again, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. This is a Brian Buffini technique that has been taught for years and years and years. I learned it before I ever came into real estate, and then, of course, got to do some coaching with Brian for a while. He was in our backyard, so to speak, in California. So we got, a lot of great time with Brian through his local trainings. And this was one that was the fundamental, and it makes perfect sense. It still withstands the test of time. And any company, regardless of what line of service product that they offer, they have all started learning to rate and categorize their database. So here's how it goes. Your A contacts are your clients and your past clients. Your B category, or your B contacts, are those that know you, you know them, they like you like them, and you're 99% sure that when the time comes that they need a real estate agent to help guide them, they are going to turn to you because you're doing a great job at staying in touch with them, providing information of value, and guiding them along the process. So the next category is your C category. Those are your C contacts. Those, again, are people that you know, them, they know you, you like each other, but you're not sure if they're ever going to buy or sell anytime soon, or you may know that they've got other relatives or anything in the real estate business. That's okay. You still want to leave them in there. Or it may be somebody that you met at an open house or through any of your generalized marketing stuff that you've gotten in. So again, you've got your C category. You don't know if they would use you or not, but that's okay. You're going to continue to build their relationship with them, providing information of value, and hopefully bumping them up to a B or an A category. Now the last category is your C, or your D, contacts. Now I know some will say if they're D, delete them. I say, time out. You may want to leave them in for a while because it costs you no money to have them in your database. It costs you no money to do a click, click, click every 4 to 6 weeks and send them an email with information of value. It's not costing you anything. And again, you don't know who they've got in their world that may or may not be in real estate, that may or may not be providing them any information of value, that may or may not, they may not want to work with them. It may be their cousin and they wouldn't trust their cousin. So you never know. So I would say leave them in there and keep a steady drip flow to them as well. Because eventually or someday they're going to need some help with something real estate related, and you want them to think of you. When their home no longer meets their needs, even if they're a renter, you want to be top of mind when it comes time for them to buy or sell. All right? So don't completely delete out the D's yet. Again, no cost to have them in the database, no cost to have them, getting information every month. All right. So your ultimate goal there is to take your C clients and convert them up to B's. So when the time comes that their home no longer meets their needs and they need some help with something real estate related, you are top of mind because you have consistently and steady provided them information of value every month. Now, I like to share stories with you because sometimes this gets across the common mistakes that agents make. So we've all had it happen where someone that we thought was committed and devoted to us, we find out that they just listed or bought through another agent. And once you have to get that foot out of your gut and take a deep breath, what I want you to do is stop and not blame them. Now, hear my heart, forgive my mouth, because I'm going to step on some toes right about now. I want you to think about where did you drop the ball? And oftentimes when I ask this question in a coaching session, when I hear this, they'll say, well, they said that, when the time came, they'd contact me. How long ago was that? Oh, it was like 1.5 years ago. When was the last time you talked to them? Oh, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 9 months ago. And when was the last time you sent them anything? Oh, I think it was a couple months ago. And I just want to go, really? Really? That's the best you can do? Did you stay top of mind? No, you didn't. You may have been thinking of them, but I'm sorry, they weren't thinking about you. They were dealing with the dog pooping on the carpet and the cat that got out that wasn't supposed to have got out and the kids who didn't get their homework done and the husband that didn't take the trash out and the bad report card that came in at the end of the year and the problems at work and the problems with the siblings and the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That is what they're worrying about. Sorry, they're not thinking about you. So it's your job to keep in touch with them, even if it's just checking in to say hi. All right, so if you've come in and need a handout, we've got some over here, so come over and grab one. All right, we're back. So that is how you build out your database, and you control the volume knob on it and building it out. So let's talk about transaction partners. Transaction partners, as we just mentioned, are your lenders, your title, your home inspectors. They are the Cardinal Title, hopefully. They are your home inspectors. They are your transaction coordinator if you hire a transaction coordinator. And they are any special inspectors that you need to have on speed dial. They know you, you know them, you're in their phone number, they're in your phone. that are going to help you get through a transaction. Now, I'm going to throw an extra recommendation in there for you. And I see this happen sometimes, and I just want to go, yeah. What were you thinking? You always, 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 always want to take really good care of your transaction partners. Why? Because it may be a tough transaction, and when you know what starts hitting the fan in a transaction, and you need to turn to them for extra TLC or extra time to get something taken care of, and if you were snitty with them the last time you dealt with them, do you think they're going to drop everything they're doing and come running? Think about how you treat them. They are an equal to you. You can't do their job without them. They can't do their job without you. It's not a... You guys are equal, working together in tandem to get the problem solved of a transaction, to get it to settlement and closing on time. All right? I would encourage you to build into your closing checklist when you're done with the transaction to make sure that you stop before you wrap everything up and make sure all your I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and paperwork's in place. Stop and write a thank you card to the various transaction partners that helped you through that transaction. It doesn't need to be long and lengthy. You know, you can go to the Dollar Tree and for $1.25 pick up a couple, a pack of cute cards. If you know anybody that has done Buffini coaching, they have a ton of cards as well. Ask around, you can get them. Mail them whenever possible. Yes, an email is nice, but a handwritten note that basically just says, hey, thank you so much for teaming with me to get this transaction done at 123 Cardinal Street. I appreciate your professionalism. We'll do it again. Your name, your card. You really want to sweeten the pot just a little bit? There is nothing wrong with going and buying a $5 Starbucks gift card and including that gift card in with the thank you note. Because I'll tell you what, they are working their butt off just as much as you are to get it done, and the last thing they need from you is an attitude. Sorry, you told me I had your permission to be blunt and honest with you, tell you what you needed to know, not always what you wanted to hear. So there, got it, all right? I always used to have to sit back and chuckle that when there would be issues going on, and we would get the agent's side, and then we would go get the other side. And the truth is always somewhere in the middle. It used to frustrate me to no end to see an agent who dropped the ball by accident or whatever, drop the ball, but all of a sudden it's the stupid lender that did this and the title company that did this and the inspector that did this and they blah, 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 blah. No. Well, oftentimes we got to the bottom of it, it was the agent that dropped the ball. You cannot take your paperwork to the title company 5 days before closing because you've sat on it for a week and a half and then expect them to get it done. And oh, by the way, either a Monday or a Friday is a holiday and everything's shut down. So when you're going to drop the ball, at least own up to it. Grovel. Bring them chocolate. Bring them coffee. Find out what it is they like to eat or drink. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I dropped the ball, I screwed up, and now I need your help. They will respect you greatly for that. And again, you're a team, you all work together. Okay, I will get off my high horse on that one. All right, but I do want you to understand the importance of having and nurture a good, solid relationship with your transaction partners, because the next time they see your name come in on contract, they're going to be fighting over who's going to be taking that file versus, oh my God, I'm not touching this one, dealt with him or her before, and they want to pawn it off. So take good care of your transaction partners. Again, they're in the same boat you are. Hopefully you're all rowing in the same direction to get to the end and get to the end results. Okay? And if you notice, I have written on there, hashtag transaction partners, no space. We're going to come back to that and why. All right, so the next thing we want to talk about is service providers. Now, service providers are those that provide service to a home. Isn't that what you specialize in, is homes? So here's your homework assignment. One of the greatest things you can do in your business is build out your service providers. And you're thinking, but I don't know a bunch of people. Yeah, I'm going to show you how to do this. So first off, hashtag service providers, no space, all one word. That's how you'll put it into KV Core, by the way. We'll talk about that in a second. Service providers are those that need to provide service to a home. And oftentimes that's either before listing, during listing, just basic repairs. When you go to your database, your sphere of influence, and I don't care if it's 5, 10, 20, 200 of them, go to your database and say, hey, it's Lynn, your favorite realtor, and I'm working on a project and I need your help. The minute you start with, I'm working on a project and I need your help, you now have their attention. When you say that as well, human nature kicks in with, yeah, what do you need? I'll help you. What you're going to do is you're going to ask them. Now, if they're a homeowner or a past client, you're going to know, you're going to ask them, so as you could imagine, great line, I write that down. As you can imagine, I'm often asked for recommendations for plumbers, electricians, painters, whatever, service providers for a home. So my question to you is this. Have you recently had any work or repairs done on the house? If so, who did you use? Would you recommend them? And would you use them again? So who did you use? Would you recommend them? And would you use them again? When they say yes, perfect, you want to go, great, the name and a company name. Now, you do not need to ask them to look up that company's phone number because you can find it on your own, okay? What you're wanting to get from them is the name and the contact person at that company and obviously what they did. So let's say Susan's going to give me the name of, oh wait, her uncle that owned ABC Carpet Care. Guess what? We as real estate agents, do we know people that have floors? Do we know people that have carpets? And do we know that most of them are dirty? Okay, so I now know Tom at ABC Carpet Care. So Susan says, hey, my uncle Tom over at ABC Carpet Care. I say, perfect. When I call him to introduce myself, can I mention your name? And they're going to go, yeah, of course. Now, if Uncle Tom was an idiot and did a bad job, she ain't going to give me his name. I'm just going to tell you that right up front. They are not going to give you the name of somebody who did a bad job. Now, if they tell me they did a bad job, then I'm going to ask because I want to not have them on my list. So I got the information, and so I'm going to get off. I'm going to call Tom and say, hey, Tom, I know we haven't had a chance to meet yet, but I'm a local real estate agent that services the area, same area that you do. And Susan said that you recently did some work for her. She said you did a good job. Was she right? Now, the beauty of that question and that statement, was she right? There's going to be a quick little giggle because they've typically not heard that one before. And they're going to go, well, I hope so, or I'm glad she thought I did, or whatever. With that, you are going to let them know that you know people that have homes, you know people that have floors, you know people that have carpets, and most of them are dirty, and we need to partner together because we're a match. And they're going to go, oh, yeah. So what I'm going to ask is when I want to come by and grab some of their business cards. So where can I find them? And what I would often do is say, hey, I'm going to be out on Friday running some errands and previewing some homes. Can I swing by wherever you're going to be at just to grab a couple of your business cards and say hello? 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you where they're at. Now, you're not going into somebody else's house. You're just going to meet them outside real quick. From there, you say, great, can I bring you something to drink? Do you want water, soda, Gatorade, or a beer? Yeah, I used to ask if they wanted a beer. They will usually giggle, and they will tell you. Get it together, and okay, Friday-ish between 11 and 11:30, I'll be in that area. I'll swing by. Just, again, won't take but 2 minutes of your time. Just say hello and grab a couple of your business cards. Perfect. Now you're off and running. As you develop that out, so let's go back a step. So you just called Susan. Susan's giving you one name. You're going to call Debbie, and she's going to give you 3 or 4 names. You're going to call Tom, and he's going to give you 3 or 4 names. You're going to call Billy, and they're going to give you 3 or 4 names. You're going to call Holly, and she's going to give you 2 more. What are you doing? You are building out your database, doubling it or tripling it within 30 days. And if you're not sure where to start with your database, here's a great way to do it. Let's pretend this is Monday, the 1st of the month. It's not, but we'll pretend it is. Monday, the 1st of the month, or whatever day you want to start on, you call just your A's. Anybody in your database whose last name begins with A. The next day, it's the B's. Next day is the C. Next day, D is the D's. You know the alphabet. Go on through the month. Now, if you really want to be spectacular, pull your calendar out, write on each day of the week that you're going to be working, and put the letter of the alphabet of the last names that you need to call. You will get through your entire database in 30 days. There is nothing better to reach out and touch them, reminding them you're in the real estate business. As you can imagine, I'm often asked for recommendations and referrals of other service providers. You're going to find out who they know, you're going to find out who they've used, and all of a sudden you start building out your list of service providers. The other thing I would recommend that you do is kick back later with beverage of choice, shoes on or off, that's optional, and make yourself a list of all the service providers you want to develop a contact with. Start at the roof, work your way down, go inside the house, and work your way around. So you'd be looking for a roofer, someone that does gutter, someone that does windows and siding, someone that does power washing, someone that does chimney inspections, fireplace inspections, landscaping, fencing, all of those things. Then you go inside, and even garage door openers. Okay? You're going to go inside the house and start thinking painting, electrical, miscellaneous repairs, appliance repairs, anything that is connected to a house or the property that may need servicing or repair at some point. You want to be able to develop out at least 2 or 3 contacts in each of those. If you find someone post on Facebook locally that they've got someone, you know what? You can see if you can add them to your list as well. But what you're doing is developing out a powerful business-to-business network of other service providers that need and can help your clients. You've reminded your database that you're the go-to source. They now know that you have the contacts. And it all comes together like this piece into this piece and into this piece. It all starts coming together. Now, story time. Client of mine, which also becomes friend as they often do, called me one day and she says, "Hey Lynn, I know that you're the go-to source, but I also know this isn't quite your area of expertise. We need an attorney that can help my husband with a business LLC." I went, okay. I had 2 that popped to mind. I knew them from business groups I had been with. I knew that they were also with an office, so if they didn't, someone in their office potentially would. So I called them both and said, "Hey, got a client that is looking for an attorney that can do an LLC for her husband. Does that fall into your area of expertise, or is there somebody in the office that does?" With that, they were able to give me the yes, whether it was them or whether it was the other person. I said, perfect. So I called Teresa back and said, "Hey, I got 2. Both can help you. That way you can chat with both and see which one you're more comfortable working with. And by the way, do you want me to email you the information? Do you want me to email it to work, or do you want me to email it to your home?" She says, "You know what, I'm at work. Go ahead and email it to me because I'm going to follow up with them this afternoon." Okay, so I got her work email, sent it off to her. I also CC'd the 2 attorneys on there because they knew I was given more than one. So be CC'd. So everyone had everyone's contact information. So a day later, she calls me back and she says, "Hey, when you were giving me that information the other day at work, my coworker overheard me talking to you and asked who was my go-to source that knew everybody." And she said, "Oh, my real estate agent." The girl proceeded to tell her that she was thinking about buying her first home. It was a first-time home buyer market. It was perfect timing for her to do it. She said, "Do you think you could help her?" Let me think. Yep, sure can. So I was able to get her contact information and help her buy. So fast forward about a week, the owner of the company proceeds to announce that they are doing relocation of some of the management team, and he's getting relocated to another area, and then there's a new person coming in. He happened to be a small office, but he happened to be walking by when she was talking about, I know that you're my go-to source and you know everybody. He heard that. So he comes back to her and asks, so who's your go-to source that knows everybody? She goes, oh, my real estate agent. Oh, well, we just announced at the staff meeting that I'm going to be relocated. Do you think she would be able to help me? Oh, I'm sure she could. Let me think. Yes, I could. So now I've got her coworker buying. I've got her boss who, needs to sell and buy in another area, so there was a referral, plus the new person coming in, I got to help them as well. How did that all come to fruition? What was the core root to that? This right here. Which side of the screen it's on? Right there. Right there. There you go. Okay. I built out the service providers. My database knew that I was the go-to source, and even needing an attorney for an LLC wasn't part of my personal expertise. What triggered from it paid off big time. So, do you think it was with that, what was it? One buy, a sell, a referral, and another buy. Was that worth the payoff to take the time to build out my service providers? Who wants to say yes to that? Raise your hand. Yes, it was. All right. This is why. Now, does it happen like that every single time? No. Nothing works every single time. But here is the problem that most agents make. They're looking for the magic pill, the magic bullet, the magic wand, the magic whatever that's going to work every single time just like that. But when it does, payoff was great. You've got to build out for the long haul. Not just the one and done, it didn't work. I called someone that didn't know anybody. No, stop. Okay? You are building out the long term, because you're going to need a transaction in 6 months, or a transaction in a year, or a transaction in 2 years, just as much as you want one now. So just know that this is one of those things. Yes, it will take a little bit of time, but if you are willing to commit to the time to build it out, you are going to be 10 steps ahead of everyone else. And there's nothing more gratifying than getting an email or a phone or a text message that says, hey, I know you're my go-to source, I need a plumber, or I need to have painting done. Who would you recommend? Who have you used? Who have your clients recommended? Now you are top of mind. Now when the time comes that their home no longer meets their needs and they need to sell, you are top of mind. See how it works? See how all those puzzle pieces fit together? Boom. Someday I'm going to have to explain to Donnie why I've smashed my laptop over here, because it's been hit with puzzle pieces one too many times. Oh, well. All right. Does that make sense? Yeah, I'm seeing head nods. Okay. Make sure you nod this way. That way, if it falls off, you can still catch it. Yeah, you're supposed to laugh at that one, too. Okay. So that is the benefit of service providers. Please do not ever underestimate the value that those can bring to you. We're going to move on. Colleagues or other agents. Now, notice we've got hashtag colleagues, and we have a hashtag Samson agents. As you go to put your stuff into KV Core, which we're going to hit in 1 second, I want you to understand how to tag them in there, and then I'll show you how you can sort and pull up what you need. So, in regards to your colleagues and other agents, here's how this developed out. This is kind of a story time, but this is how it worked and the benefit of it. As a fairly new agent, I went to one of my client, a listing that I had. I had 3 fabulous offers, and I was going to present all 3 offers, as we always do and supposed to do. So presented all 3 offers. They were all neck and neck within pennies of each other. Strong, good, solid offers. And my client looked at me and said, so, do you know any of these agents? I went, I've not been asked that one before. So I said, well, I know this one. I know of this one. I've actually worked with this one before. And I said, but wait a minute. I can work with any of them. You're deciding which offer to take should not depend on who I know and who I don't know. I can work with any of them. I'm good. They're all good, strong offers. Your decision to make. They said, okay. So they talked about it for a second. And they came back and said, we're going to go with this offer here. It's like, okay. And as I always did, I asked, so why did you choose that one over the other ones? Because whenever possible, if I could go back out of courtesy to the other agents and say, hey, presented your offer, they've selected another one, and here's why, or whatever. That was just a courtesy that I like to do. Because again, we're all going to cross paths again at some point. So when they said that, I said, okay, why? They looked at me and said, well, we remember in our initial consultation with you, you said that 9 times out of 10, something's going to pop up that no one saw coming, usually in a home inspection or whatever, but it was okay because part of your job was to be the PPS, the professional problem solver, and your job was to get the problem solved and then let us know about it, and we kept moving. So I stepped back and went, okay, so first off, I'm impressed they remembered the initial consultation. I'm impressed they remembered the PPS part. I'm thinking, okay, fair enough. So we signed up all the documents that needed to be signed. I'm driving home thinking, what if the shoe's on the other foot? What if it's my buyer's offer on the table with another agent, and their client looks at them and says, do you know Lynn? Do you know any of these agents? Do you know anything about them? I wanted those agents, if asked that question, be able to say, yeah, I know her, I know of her, I've seen her at events, or I've worked with her, whatever. It still happens today, even in this crazy market. Sometimes clients will ask if you, the agent, knows any of the other agents. And you never speak poorly of someone, by the way. Don't ever do that. Don't go down that rabbit hole, because I'd hurt you. I'll grab you by the ears and yank you back out and pop you across the head and put you back down the rabbit hole. I will. You want to make sure that you are building that rapport with other agents as well. Again, it's a small world out there, and you're going to cross paths somewhere. So with that, I started thinking, okay, so how do I build this network? Based off a class that I had recently taken, I thought, wait a minute, this is no different than building out our sphere of influence, our SOI. It's just with other agents. So what I started doing was every time I had a listing and I knew which agents were coming in to show that listing, at the end of the day, or when I got the notification they had been in, I would go ahead and send them a quick email that says, hey, thanks for stopping in 123 Cardinal Street. I appreciate you taking a peek. Does it meet your client's needs, or were you just previewing the property? That was it. And then I'd say, P.S., would you like to be part of my VIP networking team, agent to agent? Now, they would respond back, yes. Oh, and what is it? That was a good thing. If I had a buyer and I'm out previewing homes or showing homes, I would do the same thing. To those agents, I'd send them a quick email at the end of the day. It'd take me less than 10 minutes to do to wrap my day down, to say, hey, just wanted to let you know I stopped by 123 Cardinal Street, took a look at it. I was previewing homes for a client. It doesn't meet this client's needs, but I'll definitely keep this in mind, or share it at an office meeting if it comes up. And P.S., by the way, would you like to be part of my VIP agent-to-agent networking team? And they'd respond back, yes. So what I would do is I just had a database so I could flag them in there, and I started building it out. So what did I do with it? Wait, I'll tell you. When I had a new listing and would sit down to get ready to enter it in the MLS, I would pull up that group, and on a BCC, never a 2 and never a CC, BCC, because they've not given you permission to share their email address with others. So out of courtesy, you always put it in as the BCC. So the BCC, they'd all go in there. And by the way, just heads up, most email platforms will not let you email more than 100 at a time. But if you put them into KV Core, you can pull them out and send them all a BCC email out of KV Core. And there's no issue of the number. So in the subject line, I put ready or not, here it comes. In the body, thank you for being part of my VIP networking team. You get heads up. I'm just getting ready to list in the MLS my new listing in this area, bathrooms, bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, price range, whatever, just basics. Boom, da da boom, da da boom, da da boom. Do you have a buyer that's interested? It'll be live on the MLS in about 30 to 45 minutes. Now, what it did is if in fact we were in a heavy competitive market and they had a buyer looking in that area for that particular type of home, they would go, awesome, yes I do, I'll keep an eye out for it. They could then notify their client, usually by text message, hey, I just got a lead on a new listing that's popping up within the next hour. I'll take a look at it the minute it populates. See if it's a good match for you. And if it is, they can get in immediately to go see it. Okay, that makes sense? Same thing if I had a buyer that was, and the subject line would read, ready, willing, and able buyer. Ready, willing, and able meant they've talked to the lender, they have met with the lender, they provided all the documents to the lender. They are good to go. Ready, willing, and able. I've had a consultation with them. I know what their wants and needs are. I did the technique that we taught you in session 1 of JumpStart, their big why. We got through that. So I would let the agents that I know ready, willing, and able buyer looking for this area, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Got anything coming up? Now, did I get a response? Yes. Did I get a response every time? No. Why? Because nothing works every time. But the times that it did, I was the golden child, and that other agent was the golden child to their client in their eyes. Because after all, it's not about you or me. It's about how our clients perceive us and perceive our value and what we're bringing to the table for them. We are thinking outside the box. Where have you heard that one before? As long as it's legal, ethical, and moral, you betcha. So sometimes I would get, oh my gosh, yes, I'll take a look at it immediately, thank you. And there'd be times they would be getting out there right away to go see the property, and I'd be getting offers in right away. Or sometimes I'd get a message back, yeah, I've got a listing coming up. It'll be active on Friday, but it looks like it meets your criteria. Let's, communicate together. So that is the beauty of working with your colleagues. There's nothing more fun than going to an event at the local board or one of the realtor associations and interacting with other agents, and they see your name badge on and go, oh, I know who you are, because you've connected with them on this level. So don't ever underestimate the value of your colleagues. Got it? Thumbs up? We're good. Okay. This is how you leverage it. This is how you build out your service providers. This is how you build out your colleagues as well. That is how you build out a powerful, functioning, efficient database. Does it work? Oh yeah. Now, here's some tips on entering your contacts into KV Core. Again, KV Core is your friend, hashtags are your friend, and Lori O'Day is your best friend. All right, so when you go to KV Core, I'm going to look down here at my screen real quick. Off the left-hand side, there's a little wheel. You see where the green arrow is on the screen. You click on that. On the little green tab with the blue arrow off to the right-hand side, it says Add Contact. Simple as that. Then you go ahead and you start putting their name. There's a category for each thing. You just add the information in. But when you get down to lead info, let's say they're a service provider or a transaction partner, or your other colleagues, you want to click off the buyer, which is where the yellow arrow is. You click that and it'll remove it, but you want to add vendor or agent. And that's where the green circle is and the purple circle is. Then you click Add Contact. You've had all the information on there, and you are good. Oh, one more thing before you hit the Add Contact. Where it says Notes and the hot pink circle, that is where you can add the hashtag. And again, this video will be back up online on the Nest. You can retrieve it and relook at it if you need to go back to this. But again, if I can figure this part out, y'all can figure this part out. Add contact, put in the information, take out the buyer side, add if they're a vendor or if they're an agent, and then the hashtag will help you sort them. And then you save. Don't do what I've done and forget to save. I'm just saying. Little bonus tip there. So the hashtags go on there with no space. There is no limit to the number of hashtags you can use. So you've got your A, B, C, and D. You have your hashtag transaction partners. You have your hashtag service providers. You have your hashtag other agents. And you can even have hashtag Samson agent. You can take it one step further. As you're building out your service providers, I would ask them what areas they specialize or they work in. They may do all of Virginia. They may do southern Virginia. They may do northern. They may do DC, Maryland, whatever the area. Find out if they have a specific area they prefer. Now, what you can do, again, making this database, worth its weight in gold, you can add them. So let's say they're a C contact, but they're also a service provider. You can have service provider, but you can also add a hashtag painter, hashtag Fredericksburg. So you can have multiple hashtags to break it down however you need. The benefit of putting that in as you're building it out is, let's say someone comes to you, they need a painter in Fredericksburg. You can go into KV Core, you can run your search, and you can pull up the transaction partner, or the service provider, or just look for the painter in the Fredericksburg area, and there you have it. So you can add their specialty, and you can add the area. The more you put in up front, the better off it will be on the downside. And literally, I sat down and added 20 in to my database on a test, and it took me less than 30 minutes to add 20 in. Bam. Now if I need them, I can go back and sort them and search them. There you have it. When you have it in there, it'll show up under the hashtag screen on their name, their contact information. So it'll show you what hashtags are flagged. Let's see if I can point over this way, this way, this way, this way on the screen. It goes behind it. Anyway, where the little red box is there, that's where it'll show up on the main screen of your contacts in KV Core. All right? Hopefully that will make sense. Now, I've even added some of those that I have been doing JumpStart with. So if I want to know who's been attending my JumpStart and I want to come back to you and follow up with a, hey, how's it going, what's going on, I've got you flagged as JumpStart. Now, if I know you've attended the other classes, I can add you in there as well. So if for those that are online that are watching, or those that are online, watching it a second or third time, and you want to be added into my little network there, all you got to do is email me at lhamilton@samsonproperties.net. Let me know that you've been doing it online, and I will add you into my database as well through KV Core. All right? Boom. There you go. That's as easy as can be. Take a deep breath. Is your head ready to explode yet? I'm getting a couple yes. That's good. That's good. That's what we want. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump in to the next section. I'm doing good on time. So let's talk about, what is your database worth? Now, this is where I like to say, this is going to make a few of you want to get sick to your stomach. So if you need a trash can, you may want to pull one now. Because we're going to talk about what's the hidden gems? What is the money that's sitting in your database? What is your database worth? So let's get into that. According to the National Association of Realtors, that every person knows 1 to 5 people who move every year. Let's say, for example, you have 30 in your database. And you've been doing a pretty decent job of contacting them every month with a featured vendor, a feature tip of the month. Oh wait, upcoming class for reports and newsletters, how to leverage it. Keep an eye out for that one. It's coming immediately, if not sooner. You'll definitely want to tie it into this. So that's why I'm telling you to do this part now so you can leverage it later. So let's say you've been doing a really good job of being top of mind, and 10 of your 30 remember you twice. They forget about you the other 3 times. The next 10 are going to remember you once when they hear someone needing to buy or sell. They're going to forget about you the other 2 3, 4, 5 times. And then 10 are going to forget about you altogether. With that brief little mathematical calculation, you've got 30 potential leads from this group. See how that played out? Now, if you have 30 potentially decent referrals, I don't care how new you are and I don't care how bad you are. Wait, yeah, I do. Doesn't matter for this example. You could probably, if you had the opportunity to sit down with all of them, you could probably get at least half of them to agree that you were a good match and they would hire you for either a buy or sell. So with an average commission of about $10,000, because here at Samson you get more than the average bear does out there, you're looking, oh, let me go back, I would just stare at that one for a minute on the check. You're looking at about $150,000 of commission sitting in a database that you're not draining out. Now is a good time to grab that wastebasket if you need to. Who knew there was that much money sitting in your database? Now you know why we call it, it's your hidden gold mine. Now you know why everybody talks about the importance and the value of staying in touch with the people that you know and bringing them information of value, not the, so who do you know that's ready to buy or sell? Who do you know that's ready to buy or sell? Who do you know that's ready to buy or sell? Because after the second or third time of you doing that, they're gonna cut you off. They're gonna block you on their phone because they don't want to hear it anymore. Or worse, you're going, so who do you know that's thinking of buying or selling? Because you need a paycheck. Well, I got a surprise for you. The reason you get the deer in the headlights look from them, you just ask them a question their brain can't process. Neurolinguistics. Here's your bonus. You just ask them a question their brain cannot process. They got as far as, who do you know that's thinking? I don't care what you said afterwards. Their brain just shut off. Because they're thinking, I don't know what people are thinking. How do I know what people are thinking? I don't know. And that's where you get the deer in the headlights look and no answer. Now, being from California, I heard about the deer in the headlights look. But when I moved here to Virginia and actually got to see the deer in the fields and on the side of the road, I understand the deer in the headlights look. I can relate to it now. But that is why you get that blank stare, because you just ask them a stupid question that they cannot answer. Their brain cannot process it. So that is why I teach you hopefully not to say that anymore and provide you with other things to say instead. Oh wait, class coming up. It's being filmed and broadcast tomorrow, depending on which time you're watching this, on conversation starters, scripts. That class is coming up. Go look for it in the nest. Your database is a gold mine, and it kills me that agents who have been in this business for any amount of time, when you ask if they have a database, they look at you and go, no. Okay then, I got nothing. I got nothing. So this is why it's so important, and this is why you're constantly hearing from all of us the value of your database. I've just shown you how to break it down, how to categorize it, the 4 categories that needs to be in your database, and how to break down your sphere of influence into 4 or 5 different levels. Now you've got a friggin' gold mine. You want to retire? You sell that database, because now there's some money in it. Now, I'm going to share a little fun story with you as we get ready to move along. Oftentimes, back in the olden days, 100 years ago, real estate offices used to have file cabinets that would literally sink a battleship. And in them were all the paper files of all the transactions that had been completed over the last 5 or 10 years, whatever the state requirements were for legally needing to keep them. And so occasionally a very smart brand new agent would come in and with the broker's permission would get into the files and start finding transactions that had closed out 5 to 10 years ago. And if they could identify that that agent was no longer in the business or had retired, it was fair game. Now, nowadays, we can go into our MLS and we can run searches, and that's why we encourage you to attend the Bright classes that are being taught. And Samson, good for you, has them scheduled out for the rest of the year. That is one of those hidden gems that most agents don't know how to make their Bright MLS searches sing and dance. You learn a few tricks on it, there is nothing you can't find in there. Attend those classes. Please attend those classes. But then go in and play and know how to run those searches. Because what you can do is you can go back, if you're wanting to do geo-farming, or if you're wanting to go back and reach back to people who've been in a home for 5 or 10 years, and just follow up with them. Hey, Susan, I'm Lynn, a realtor in the area. I see that your agent that you had worked with, Debbie, has retired. I'm just reaching out to see if the home still meets your needs. Do you still love it? Does the home still meet your needs? And why would we ask that? Oh, wait, you've heard me share that before. Because when the home no longer meets their needs is when, regardless of what the world is doing, the economy is doing, or anything else is doing, they will choose to sell. Okay, so all those pieces all starting to come together now. So this agent proceeded to work that and also did rentals because nobody else wanted to do rentals. However, he was smart enough to set those renters up on a prepare to buy over the next 12 to 18 to 24 months, and he became the #1 selling agent in that brand, in that company, his second and third year in a row in the business. Think outside the box. Know what your tools are, know how to use the tools and leverage them to your advantage. Okay, so here's a question that's often gets asked. It's, if you're wanting to strive towards building a referral-based business, what is the magic number for your database? Is it 50? Is it 100? Is it 2, 3, 4, 500? I don't know. Part of it comes down to how many transactions you want to do, how well are you staying in touch with your sphere of influence and providing them truly information of value, and the right messaging to the right target. Yes, we talked about that in session 4, JumpStart. But then also understand there's a 20% attrition rate per year of the database. So let's say you've got 100 in there, plan on losing about 20% of them. So just because you've hit your target of 100 in your database, or whatever your number is, don't think you can stop and slide from that point. Now, it's just like when you, remember the old wells, the water pump that you'd have to pump and, now, that was before my time, but I've heard the stories. So you've got to pump, and 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 you've got to pump until the water starts coming out. But once the water starts coming out, then you can slow down and keep it going slow and steady. That is kind of the flow of your database as well. Now, you may need to pump like mad in the beginning, getting their information, getting their contact information, getting the information you need and want, getting them loaded up into your database, getting your marketing strategy mapped out for them, session 4, JumpStart. And from there, once you've got them in and going, then you can slow down a little bit to maintain it and keep it going. The problem that agents do is they pump and pump and pump and pump and pump. They get a transaction, and then they stop pumping. They forget about this part. And they totally focus on the transaction. They close out the transaction. Now they got nothing. It's 3 months before another one's going to come along or more. So it's important to understand that you need to maintain it and keep it going on a steady, even pace. Boom. There you have the secrets. All right. So when someone is going to give you a referral or an introduction to somebody else that, you can go interview with them to see if you're a good match, always, always, always thank that person for the act of the referral, not the results of the referral. So let's say Susan is going to go ahead and introduce me to her cousin Connie. I'm going to make sure that, once I've talked to Connie, I'm going to go back to Susan, handwritten note, maybe a little gift card for Starbucks or wherever. It may be $10. I don't know. Depends on how, generous I feel at the time. But I'm going to go ahead and send a handwritten note with a thank you and a tiny gift in there to thank her for the introduction to Connie. Now, whenever possible, I'm going to teach you to take the word referral and commission out of your vocabulary. I'm going to show you as we move along how to replace it and what words to replace it. Conversation starters coming up. Okay, so you want to thank the act of the introduction or the referral, not the results. Now, when the results happen, you're darn right I'm going back and thanking her again for the end result. But if she's friends, she's probably going to know it anyway. So there you have it. Keep that in mind as you're building out your business, being the uncoldo. Now, according to Outbound Engine, agents report that less than 20% of their past clients have ever sent them a lead. Why, you wonder? Okay, hear my heart, forgive my mouth. This is one of those times that it's going to come. It's not them, it was you. Okay, I'm stepping on toes, I know. But you said it was okay. You said I could be blunt and honest with you. So there you have it. Most of the time it's because you've dropped the ball. We assume that people know to refer to us. Most of the time they really don't know how to. So part of what you're going to be learning over time is not only how to ask for the introductions of friends and family that you can help, but it's the same thing when we build out your your service providers and your database. They understand referrals, but they don't know how to do them. So part of your job is to learn to master that a little bit. Conversation starters coming up soon. According to the National Association of Realtors, again, every person knows 1 to 3 or 1 to 5 people that need some help with something real estate related each year. So why are you not getting those? Because it's probably you're dropping the ball just a little bit. So we're going to get into how to make that happen. Here's another interesting survey. 80 to 87% of clients said that they would refer their agent or use them again if they ever heard from them again. Now's the time to pick up that trash can because you're going to need it. And yes, I've just stepped on your toes, but know that it comes with love. 80 to 87% of clients said they would use the agent again or refer them if they ever heard from them again. I want that just to sink in for a second. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Let's say you have 10 past clients. 80% of them is 8 that you have dropped the ball with because you've not stayed in touch with them. If they each knew 1 to 3 possible other clients, you have just missed out on potentially 8 to 24 good prospects that would have come as a referral / introduction to you, but because you dropped the ball, you didn't get it. On an average of a $10,000 commission, you just left behind about $80,000. Now's the time to pick up the trash can. Can we all say ouch? Yeah, ouch. There you have it. That should make you sick. But that is why we always talk about staying in touch, the importance of it. And I got to tell you, I've seen companies around town and across this country as well. In my opinion, nobody does it better than Samson Properties to make sure that you agents have what you need at a minimal or no cost to do some of this stuff. Trust me on this one. There's nobody out there that's better at providing agents the support and the tools, the database, the function, the education, the guidance that Samson does. So there. Don't tell Donnie I said that. All right. How do you build credibility with someone? Let's say you're new and you're sitting there going, blah, 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 I don't have any past transactions, I don't know. Use your free KV Core. If you had to go out and get KV Core on your own, you're looking at several $100 a month for an individual to get KV Core on their own. I know agents who have left a company that provided KV Core. They went to go get it themselves and went, It was going to be between $500 and $600 a month for them to get it individually. And you're getting it for free. Soak on that for a second. All right. One of the other things you can do to help build your credibility is free reports. Oh, wait, that's coming up immediately in the nest. Filming tomorrow. Free newsletters. Got those as well. They're out there. I'm going to show you where they're at. Featured property of the week or of the month. Let's say you don't have any listings, but you want to put out to your sphere of influence through, let's say, an email that says, hey, here's my featured property of the week or my featured property of the month, but it's not your listing. Do you know of another agent within Samson Properties that has a listing? I'm going to say yeah, because there's a bunch of them. You just go to another agent and say, hey, can I feature your property? I always email them because I want a written permission that they've given me the okay to market their property. I've never seen an agent that have said no. Use that as your feature property of the week or of the month. That can be embedded into an email that gets blasted out to those that are in your database. Oh, wait, you've had to get your database up and started and know how to enter them and know how to tag them so you can do this. Boom. We're good. And then there's also free information from home warranty companies. Yes, we're covering that in the how to use free reports, free newsletters, and leveraging it. That's coming. So there's no reason that you shouldn't be able to brand yourself and, I'm going to say pretend, but that's not the right word, that you know what the market is doing. All right, deep breath. Here we go. Here's your part of your homework. I want you to jot down the top 5 tasks you need to complete. Here's a couple for you. You may need to make the list of who you know. You need to be able to have KV Core ready to use. You're going to hashtag in KV Core the categories of those that you're entering into them. And you add number 4 and number 5 of what is it that you need to be doing this week. So the question is, what do I need to be doing this week? Or what can I put into action this week that's going to strengthen my business, make it better, stronger, more effective, and more efficient? All right? With that, as we wrap down, I want you to go ahead and email me if you're watching this remote. Email me at lhamilton@samsonproperties.net. What is your aha? What is your takeaway? And what are the things, 1 or 2 things that you need to grab and do this next week? Because I'll tell you, we're getting to the point now that I'm really going to encourage you to stay on point of getting the homework tasks done. Because what we do in JumpStart Session 4, if you don't have this one kind of started, you're going to be lost and not be able to build it out as effectively as well. Okay? Wrapping this down. I always like to share what are the books that are on my bookcase. I've often been asked what were my ahas as I was going through this journey. This is a great one. Whenever I looked at my bookshelf, and actually I now have them on the top shelf, when I pick them up, they've got Post-it notes across the top and down the side. And when I flip through them, they look like a coloring book because I've highlighted stuff in them. This one was one of them. It's Monday Morning Choices. What is the choice that you are going to make first thing in the morning to get your day started and your day started right? It doesn't always have to be Monday. If it's Tuesday and you need to jumpstart and kind of take a fresh breath air, what is your Tuesday morning choice? If it's Wednesday, what is your Wednesday morning choices? So I would encourage you, again, I've got no skin in the game on any of these. They're available on Amazon or bookstores or wherever. But it was just one that I found that I got a lot of value from and enjoyed it. So I like to be able to pass them on as well. My goal, as you know, is for you to be the Uncola. 7-Up. Which way does it go? There it goes. Back when they first launched this, it was the cold carbonated beverage. When they went to relaunch it in 1967, yes, I looked it up, there was enough cold carbonated, caramel colored, say that twice fast, beverages on the market. They didn't need another one. The market was inundated. Somebody came up with the most brilliant marketing campaign. Be the Uncola. And that's what 7-Up got relaunched as, the Uncola. What I want you to do is go get yourself a can of 7-Up, put it on your desk, and remind yourself you want to become the Uncola. There are other agents out there in this industry and in this community. You be the Uncola. You do something unique and different than what other agents are doing. Because yes, I'm going to say this. Hear my heart, forgive my mouth, it's coming again. There's a lot of lazy agents out there, and I don't want any of our Samson agents to fall into that category. I want you guys to have that Samson shift. What are you doing that's bringing better value to your clients and to the community at large? Think outside the box and be the Uncola. I often like to use a little tic-tac-toe. If we're going to play tic-tac-toe, guess what? I'm going to win because I'm going to think outside the box. Because there's no rule that says you can't. As long as it's legal, ethical, and moral, you are good to go. So be the Uncola. Think outside the box. What are you doing that's different from all the other agents out there, so that when you have a chance to be face-to-face and nose-to-nose with a potential client, you can say, I offer this, this, and this. And you've got it. All right? We've just wrapped up session 3. You just got 13 new tips and techniques. Session 1, you were given 19. Session 2, you got 24. Session 3, you got 13 more. You now have 56 so far, and we haven't even gotten into session 4 yet. I know it sounds like a lot, but when you break it down and use your front sheet as your checklist page, you will get through it smoothly. So with that, determine your aha takeaway. Email me what it is. I want to thank Cardinal Title for sponsoring this. I know that you all have taken your valuable time, and I take that quite seriously, that I am taking some of your valuable time. I always strive to give you plenty of good information and guidance and support as we move forward. So thank you all for being here live. Thank you for those who are watching it on live stream and those that are going back and reviewing it again. If you're going to go back and review it and it's on the YouTube link, go ahead and leave hopefully a nice comment in there to help other agents who may come across it and want to kind of take a peek. So leave some nice comments in there. If you got a nasty comment, just email it to me directly. Then I'll hit delete and block. No, I'm just kidding. But we do strive to bring you really, really good information. So again, thank you for your time. Remember, I don't care what you know. I don't care how seasoned you are. I want to know, what are you doing with what you know? This information does you no good, nor does any other training, whether it be from Donnie, Sarah, David. I can go through a list a mile long. That information is no good until you decide that you want to do something with it. That is our mission. That is our goal, is to give you those aha moments, break it down piece by piece so that you know how to put your puzzle together smoothly, effective, and efficient. Whether you want to do 5 transactions a year, whether you want to do 50 transactions a year, or you want to do 151 transactions a year, we are here to help put together your puzzle so you can be effective and efficient. So I don't care what you know. I want to know what you're doing with what you know. With that, we're going to wrap it up and call it a day for session 3 of JumpStart. I will look forward to seeing you all back in for session 4 and our other massive classes that are coming out for you. Again, this is a puzzle. We're going to put it together piece by piece. And as we start getting closer to some of the other components, you'll start seeing where all the pieces come in. So with that, I will see you next time. Go enjoy, be wonderful, be awesome. Oh, thank you.